لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاء.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Alhamdulillah, we recited the 26th juz tonight. SubhanAllah. Can you believe it? 26 ajza. And we recite some great surah. They are all great. Surah Muhammad, Surah Hujurat. And though there are many lessons to take from these ayat, I thought tonight perhaps I would take a break from the lessons and I would share what I've come to lovingly refer to as Quranic pharmacology. A little bit of that, inshallah, with you tonight. Also, just to show you, the layers that the Quran has, and the limits to it is, subhanallah, Allahu A'lam, Allah knows. One of the ayat that we recited tonight inspired me for this, where if you were to read the ayah in Surah Qaf, you would think no more of it than what it says, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَزَّلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ إِمَاءً مُبَارَكًا فَأَنْبَتْنَا. It says, we have sent down from the sky water, blessed water, and it feeds the earth, and etc. brings the life, brings the earth back to life, and so forth. But this ayah actually triggers an incident that happened with Ali radiallahu anhu. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Where a man came to Ali radiallahu anhu, and he was suffering, from severe pain and an unknown illness. They don't mention what it was. And he goes to Ali because Ali, as you know, has been aptly called Babul Ilm. The Prophet ﷺ says, Ana Baytul Ilm wa Ali Babuhu. I am the house of knowledge and Ali is its door. Right? So it makes sense for people to go to Ali radiallahu anhu, even with their pain and their suffering, their physical pain and suffering. And so Ali tells him, he says, make this concoction, essentially. He says, take water, but it must be a rainwater, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayah, ma'an mubarakan. In other words, it's blessed water from the sky. And as we know, water that falls immediately from the sky has a lot more peculiar properties in it than water that has stood after it has rained. Subhanallah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put some extra blessings in that. So Ali said, no longer than an hour must pass after you've collected this water. Right? Because this is ma'an mubarakan. This is within the definition of ma'an mubarakan. And then he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, in another ayah in the Quran, fihi shifa'ul linnas. Speaking about honey, of course. Then he says, you have to then put honey in this water as well. But it doesn't stop there, because that's a very obvious part, of course. Then he says something very interesting. And he says, but the way that you have to buy this honey, he says, is a specific way. And he quotes another ayah. He says, وَآتُوا صَدُقَاتِهِنَّ نِحْلًا. And give your women their mahr graciously. وآتوا النساء صدقاتهن نحلًا فإن طبن لكم عنه شيئًا. And if they give something of their mahr to you, right? They want to give you something. They've given you something. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فَكُلُوهُ هَنِيئًا مَرِيئًا. Then you take it. هَنِيئًا مَرِيئًا. In other words, inside of this that they've given you, Allah's put hani'an and mari'a. What does hani'an mari'a mean? Hani'an means there is satisfaction. For lack of a better words, lekkerness, as they would say. It's lekker. It's tasty. That's what hani'an means. But something that is tasty is not always good for you, as we know. And so hani'an, without mari'an, is tasty, but not good for you. The mari'an part is the wholesomeness. In other words, it will not harm you. How many times don't we take medicine or some concoction, but it also has side effects with it? It treats the illness, but it also has side effects. So subhanAllah, look at this companion's mind, subhanAllah. It gives him a complete cure that is filled with blessings and that is filled with tastiness. It's good, it tastes lekker. And it has wholesomeness in it as well. It won't harm him. And he says, take this and it will cure you. Now, there's many, many lessons we can take from this. Chief among them is, for the brothers out there who are still to get married, give your wife give her a good mahar, a big one, so that she would want to give you something of her mahar. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is put in there, hani and Maria. Just to show you the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where He has placed things. And all of these jewels, different jewels, because it's a jewel, subhanAllah. It's a jewel to know that in here is hani and in Maria, without doubt, because it's kalam Allah. So there's no doubt in this. It is kalam Allah. It's not speculation. It's the truth. And this is the Quran, filled with these gems. And so when you read now, pay attention to where Allah has put barakah. Pay attention to where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put hani'an and Maria, where Allah has put shifa. Pay attention. For this is the absolute truth. Inshallah. قولي قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.